Hello, I'm Ali.
And I'm her best friend, Em.
This is She Said, She Said.
Join us for our ritual Wednesday evening glass of wine as we talk about the highs and lows of life as two foreign ladies living in France.
Think of this as the group chat you actually want to be on, where we talk about all the plates we're spinning and occasionally dropping.
We'll also give you the best tips we've learned from over a decade living among the Frenchies.
C'est parti! She's back!
Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back?
She's still alive. She, the podcast.
She's still going. We've had quite a long break. Oopsie
We have
daisy.
had a break.
That's okay.
Yeah, like no reason, right? Just life.
Well, there was Christmas. We had a break at Christmas
Yeah.
because, Christmas. We're celebrating that. And then, January has been life in, hasn't it? Oh my God. I feel like January, though, has like, as the French would say, janvier m'a roulé dessus. Like, just ran me over.
Didn't know they said
Just
that.
got run straight over by January.
Okay, so let's just say we both got run over by January, and now here we are slowly getting back on our feet, podcasting with loads of new ideas.
Yeah. I'm so glad to be back as well. I really missed you, and I really missed all of our listeners too.
Yeah, also, my husband's been doing dry January, and so there's not a lot of drinks around our house. I haven't like officially been doing it, but like I feel like I very much earned this big glass of red wine.
Huge glass of wine.
I might fall asleep on the podcast. Sorry. Red wine makes me quite sleepy, but it also like feels like a good idea now.
It's going to be a monologue tonight. I'll just have to keep the thing going while you sleep.
Or I'll be kind of drunk and just speaking and you have nothing to say.
That's also fine. My brain is fried. You can take the mic. That's no problem for me. Get a bit of that down you and you'll be straight back into it.
Okay. Let's start with the show and tell. Hit me. You said you have something, and I mean, I kind of wish it has something to do with guinea pigs, but it might not.
Unfortunately not. It is to do with animals though. Dogs. Yeah.
Not mice, maybe. Dogs.
Oh no, we have quite an intense mice infestation. Just to bring the listeners up to date, we've been using humane traps to transport them out into the fields near us. Quite a fast speed. I mean, they're filling up. I think we're on our 8th mouse in a week and a half.
That's nice of you to give them a new environment to live in. In your house.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like where there are 8 mice, there are more mice. It's never just 8.
They say.
Yeah. I actually this morning bought some poison online to be delivered.
Psst.
I think it might be time.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm gonna reassess because I did want to go for the kind of humane trap route, but I do feel like they breed really quickly, don't they? So I don't.
Oh, they kind of do. I mean, they must be quicker than our guinea pigs, and their guinea pigs are quick.
Anyway, it's not about mice. It's about dogs. One specific dog, actually. I'm just thinking out loud. I didn't ask the person in this story if I could share this as a show and tell, but I will very much anonymize them.
Okay.
It's somebody in my family.
Okay. Someone I know. Okay.
I'll tell you off the record who it is, okay?
Okay.
So this person in my family loves dogs. I've got to be sure not to say anything that's going to give away who they are. So they love dogs but can't have them because they live in too small of a place.
Okay.
And so they were looking after their friend's dog because they kind of like any opportunity they can have to look after a dog. They're like, yeah, he can stay overnight. And so this person, should I give them a name? Lily was looking after their friend's dog, and they live in a really nice area, and they went out to meet their friends and took the dog called Herbie to the pub where all their friends were, and there was a female dog that Herbie was really into. So he was just like, he's like a French bulldog. He was just like a horny little bastard. He was kind of having a great time. And then they brought him home.
Was the female dog having a great time? Can we talk about
I think they kept them apart. He was just like, whoa, this is great, just getting very excited, I think. That was the key takeaway. So they brought him home, and this person's partner went out the next day and left Herbie at home with her. She noticed that he had, dogs get like quite a erect, like lipstick penis. And he had like, it was like,
that was happening.
It was happening, but like, in a big way. a
Okay.
lot.
Okay.
It like angry, like, whoa. And he was just like in like no how, like going crazy, like she didn't know what to do. He was going crazy. And this lasted for like hours, like, and it didn't go away. And he started getting like weirder and weirder and started like kind of like staggering around. She was like, what do I do? Like this dog is just like got a massive stalker. French bulldog had an erection for like, I don't know, like 4 hours by this point.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is really serious. Like, if you can't get him immediately to a vet, either if you've got some kind of lubricant or some kind of coconut oil or something,
What?
then you
To do
have to
what?
you have to relieve the dog because like it is really like it's really bad for their heart and it's really bad for them to stay in this
Come
state.
on, ChatGPT was messing with her, right?
And so she was like, no, like she was trying to get through to his owner. They were at a wedding. She didn't know what to do. So in the end, she was like, okay, I'm going to leave it a minute. But she'd found some cocoa butter. So she was like, I'm going to have to do this. Like it was basically like the dog's going to
No.
die if I don't do it. So she's like, okay, I'm going to wait half an hour. And if
Was this
not,
only ChatGPT or was this also like a certified, I don't know, vet kind of website kind of thing?
I don't know what fact checking went into this information, to
Right.
be honest, but enough that she believed
Okay.
she was going to have to do it.
Okay.
And so she's like, okay, I'm going to wait half an hour. In half an hour, if he's not any better, I'm just going to have to do it. And she waited a bit and went back kind of half an hour later and it was starting to go down. And he was starting to go back to normal.
Oh my God, I'm so relieved that that story stops like this because it feels like it would have gone into something that
I know. When she was telling me, I was like, you didn't. That's like life scarring.
there isn't before and an after when you have done something like that in your life.
Yeah, that's true. It's a pivotal moment in your life where you can't get back from, realistically. I was like, I would let the dog die. I'm not gonna lie, I would not.
I think so too.
But she was like leaving like voice messages for the dog's owners, and they were absolutely like wetting themselves when
What
they
did they say?
received them.
Oh yeah, oh, okay, cool. Had they ever seen that in their dog
I
before?
don't think it's quite to that extent, but he'd really been kind of quite excited the day before, so apparently it's a thing. That is my show and tell.
Wow, that's a good one. Good one. I mean, I feel like they can always be about animals. We'll always have some great stories to tell.
Yeah, keep them coming. So
Okay.
massive pivot. I don't know.
I also kind of like that in your story. It is a French bulldog.
Have you found a segue from that story into what we're going to talk about today? Jesus Christ.
Stuff you didn't know about France.
I bow down to your amazingness.
This is something that I've been preparing basically for a couple of weeks. And like when something comes up, I'm like, oh, I'm sure people don't know this about France.
Yeah.
And I know you have some stuff as well. So I think we can jump right in. And I want to start with something that I think whenever I tell people, they're quite surprised by. And that is the love of French people for comic books.
Yeah, that is a good one. Yeah.
Like they will read actual novels, will be turned into comic books. Like it can be like super serious, like about any topic that you would read a book on, but in a format that is a comic book, very much done for adults. And then because this is such a big culture, I remember when I first lived in Paris, the local bookstore had 2 extra rooms that were full of comic books. And then they usually come in, series. And so they're these thin, often bigger sized books. And then you had like rooms and rooms and full of, the kind of same format book, like loads of them, one to another thing. And people were like sitting on the floor and standing, and everyone was just like super interested. I was like, what's going on here? And it was just like comic books. And I was like, wow, like we don't have that in Germany at all. I was just so surprised by it. And now I have a lot of friends who really, are like into a very specific type or a specific series.
Yeah.
Like regularly on the radio, you'll hear them talk about a new comic book or a series that's come out. And I've read a couple, like my kids really like comic books. And, like I have one for my daughter about dyslexic children. And it's like a really good story. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it now, but I really don't think it's something that is generally known about French people. Do you think?
No, definitely not. And I think that's a really good one. It's kind of like surprising, I think, as well, how far it goes across society. 'cause it's not just kids. I feel like in the UK, it's maybe like kids and nerds read
Yeah.
comic books.
Yeah.
Whereas here it's like I have a lot of female friends who are 40 who have got like
Yeah.
a comic series they like about, like, I don't know,
Anything,
being a
right?
woman in your 40s,
Yeah.
or it's really, and it's normal to buy someone a comic for their birthday.
Yeah. Oh, very much. I mean, the thought goes into it and, you think about a topic that someone likes and then you get them the book that you think that works for them. And like, for example, I have one. I mean, not everyone has videos, but this one is one that was like quite a lot in the media for some time. It's called L'Arnaque des Nouveaux Pères, and it's a couple of men who wrote it, and they're basically reflecting on being modern dads and how it makes it sound like the dads of our generation are so much more present and as if it's like 50-50 these days, but they basically saying that's not at all what's happening. And that's what you see on the
Oh.
cover of the book. It's just a woman walking uphill and a guy with a baby in the baby carrier taking a selfie, but the woman is also carrying him. And that is kind of like what the book is about. And like loads of situations of like daily life where, the guy kind of like gets away with it, with everyone saying, well, you're great dad. Wow, you're so present. And still only doing 30% though.
That's
Anyway.
really interesting. And it's two guys that wrote that,
Oh,
you
yeah.
said?
Yeah.
That's really cool. I
Yeah, it's really
think
interesting.
so it's called L'Arnaque des
Mhm.
Nouveaux Pères, so it's like the scam of new dads,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So it's not
Of
about like
like the
how
modern dads, the dads that we are now saying are great and, carry their babies in the baby carrier around anywhere or like go pick up the kids. Basically, they're saying is still not anywhere near where it should be. It's quite good.
so true. I could go into that. I could go into that topic of how it's not how it's not 50-50. But I do think this kind of feeds into one of the things that I wanted to bring up. Because you would think of a comic as kind of something kind of frivolous, childlike maybe, but there are some like really intelligent comics. And I think, especially like the one you're describing and the ones that we were kind of referencing, like talk about history or whatever, in France, and this is maybe something that people don't know outside France, but maybe it is. I think intellect is valued above like almost
Oh,
anything.
oh
Do you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like if you can
Yes.
speak well, if you're like eloquent, if you're doing a PhD, that's like,
Mhm.
I
Oh,
think intellect is above anything. And I was kind of thinking, how is that different to in the UK, probably in Germany as well, because it's kind of like Anglo-Saxon cultures too.
mhm.
And I feel like emotional intelligence is valued more maybe in those societies. Like you wouldn't necessarily challenge someone as much. Whereas
Yeah.
in France, like challenging someone is a form of showing you respect them. I was trying to think of examples from just everyday life. And I
Mhm.
remember one of our friends, Elsa, when we first arrived in France, she was saying like her boyfriend and her brother, whenever she spoke French and she used the wrong gender for a word, so she said, say like un table, they'd be like, "Ah, nouvelle règle, un table maintenant." And I was like, that's really mean. Like
Yeah.
you're trying to learn this language, or you're trying to speak another language and they're like mocking you.
You're
But
pointing
she
it
was like,
out,
no,
yeah.
but they do it in like a nice way, but they also take the piss out of each other. So it's almost like they see
Mm.
her as an equal by doing
Mhm.
that.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
know what
Yeah,
I
I get
mean?
that.
It was almost
Mhm.
like that. And I think I remember your husband as well, like once one of your friends corrected him and he got a bit like, oh, what? Like, stop it. Because
Yeah.
your husband's German and he was speaking French
Yeah.
to his friend. So obviously,
Yeah.
like, already making quite a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And his friend was like, well, no, I'm just, I respect you. So I'm going to correct you if you do something wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I think, like, yeah, intelligence is really valued and like
Yeah.
challenging people is like a form of respect, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas I think in the UK, people are like, probably like in terms of politics specifically,
Mhm.
you would never challenge someone over that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or people like, you'd always keep a lid on it.
Yeah.
Whereas, I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
making
because you
sense.
kind of like want to avoid that it might go into maybe a confrontation, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think it's about
Yeah,
like
you don't want it
intimacy.
to go too far and then get, I don't know, too heated of a debate or something like that. Is that possible?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's about how people are intimate. It's like
Mm.
France is kind of like intellectually intimate, whereas in the
Mhm.
UK we're like emotionally intimate almost.
Yeah.
And it's not that well seen to be like really well spoken or that kind of thing. It's a
Yeah,
bit
it
like,
doesn't count as much.
yeah.
100%. I can definitely see that. And I think that is something that it took me a while to understand that People also expect of journalists to be these people who just like know everything and have an opinion on everything and can just analyze everything, like geopolitics and, and I always just felt a little bit like, I mean, that's not the kind of journalist I am. I'm not here
Yeah.
to just analyze stuff. Like I definitely have met French people who's thinking like, but like you're a journalist. That's not what you think about that and that situation right now. And just like, oh, don't know. Like,
yeah, I don't know if anyone's listening for the first time, but Ali's a journalist, and I kind of used to be. I'm
as
not
you
really
are.
anymore. But I mean,
Oh, brother.
do you ever lose it? I don't know.
You don't. You don't. Oh,
But yeah, for sure. We were just saying before, right, that you have some journalism students, and they're like, I don't know, the way people write in France is so opinionated.
yeah, very opinionated. Yeah, I don't. It's a problem for me teaching them because it really isn't culturally not the same thing. Um, Anyway, it would go very much into detail, but we had some really, really good discussions this week about that. But sometimes we just have to agree to disagree and just, I tell them like, sorry, but that's just not, I think culturally, I just don't get that part, but it's fine.
I will never understand. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I have another thing, but we have mentioned this before, but I just thought maybe if people are joining us that haven't listened to any of the other episodes, I thought it could need a reminder of Wednesdays and that like Wednesdays are off
Yeah.
school for most kids, like most ages. And then usually I think from college, it depends on what kind of studies they want to do. If sometimes on Wednesdays they have school, but generally, Wednesdays is just a day off. So kids go to school in France on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And then on
Yeah.
Wednesdays, it's like outside of school activities or, you go to,
So it's
yeah,
not after school club because it's all day.
exactly, Wednesday club or something like that, which usually is quite, you get to do stuff and you hang out with your friends. But it often is in the same school building. And also it kind of feels for them maybe a little bit as if they were going to school anyway. But yeah, I think that is something that needed mentioning again because I feel like that always surprises people when I say that, when they're like, oh, but like, oh, they go to school so much, like every day, all day, especially in Germany, where kids don't go to school all day. And then when you tell them like, well, yeah, I mean, they kind of go, guess 6 hours a day because they have 2 hours of break at midday.
Yeah.
So they have like 6 hours of school, which I don't know, it's not that crazy, right? And then Wednesdays are off, so it's okay. It's a good rhythm for a child.
I feel like it kind of feeds into something that so this is an observation from me. Maybe there's no depth to it, but I kind of feel like a lot of things support it. So I feel like that French believes suffering like builds character. And I feel like it's kind of like woven throughout the society. And I do feel like the long school days, like the fact that they sit at desks quite early, 6 years old, they're at like individual desks, sitting down, learning to write. They're all like writing in the same way until they get it. There's lots of other examples of that, kind of like long lunch breaks are quite punishing. It's very strict.
Depends on how you spend them, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, true. Like very strict teachers, that kind of thing.
Or like,
Customer
the
service.
classes, that class, I actually never really understood what it means, but that those
Prepper?
what would you call that? Preparatory classes?
Preparation?
The preparation classes? The
What were you gonna say?
preparation preparatory.
I'm mocking you because I respect you.
Thanks. So much respect. I feel a lot of respect. So those preparation classes that some people do to get into, I don't even know if it's always a private school or if it's even to get into university or if it's to get into one of those
Private unis, isn't it? It's the
private
expensive.
unis.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
apparently that year you spend to prepare the private uni that you then also pay for. But I think
Into
not
it.
all of
Yeah.
them you pay for. That year, apparently they spend basically studying all the time, like no free time.
It's not what I was about at 18. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly. It sounds like I'm just telling you, it sounds like there is so much suffering in that year when they're 18.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of stories about like, 18-year-olds like being burnt out from that year. It's really tough. Like I really hope none of my kids ever want to do that. I'll just send them to German uni. That's chill.
If they're not, might not go to English uni. It's very expensive. They can go here. They can do a year of prep and go.
Send them to Germany.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so suffering to build character. I feel like that's kind of like ingrained into like the French system. Admin, you have to suffer to get anything. Basically anything.
Is it so much worse in France and in the UK, would you say?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Like I have kind of, yeah, I've done both admins and it's definitely worse here. There's always just, it's just laborious. There's always like
Yeah.
some board you have to go through, like some
Yeah.
paper you have to get. And it's like, oh, could it not just be easy? No, because it's
Yeah.
building my character. Maybe I'm more
Yes.
robust for it.
Yes. The more you suffer, the Frencher you get.
Oui, oui. Do you have anything like more funny? I feel like I've done like an analysis of French.
I have something cool, which is the right to disconnect. I don't know if you can tell anything about it.
Yeah.
You as a boss lady. I feel like you might know something about that. So that is basically the right of any French employee to, after work day, to not be able to be joined by anyone from work. So it's the right to disconnect. And so I remember quite a lot of French colleagues where we used to work would just be like, yeah, but I finish at 5. You can't call me after 5 because that's after my work hours. So no. And I think it is in the law, right?
Yeah, it's a law, like droit de déconnexion. I have mixed feelings about this. So in one way, I think being constantly connected is toxic. Like it is really toxic and it's
Yeah,
not
we
good for
know it.
anyone. It's actually
Yeah.
not that, you don't get more done, basically. I think if you power through in your work hours, you can generally get through most stuff.
Even for French people, that is too much suffering.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I do. But I do think sometimes in some jobs, you maybe just need to check your emails at 6:30. Just sometimes, or you may need to just keep an eye out for something at the weekend. And
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is when it's like, oh, it's a big hassle, like, you know, I'm so sorry. Can be a little like, is it really ruining your weekend, realistically?
Yeah.
But then also, you know, it's probably good for you to disconnect. So
Yeah.
I just can't do it. I'm not
I
fresh
think
enough.
I guess that people think like, if I start doing it a little bit, then I'll start doing it on a regular basis. I'd rather just be like, no, none of it. And that's my right. Done with it.
Yeah, and you couldn't really like honestly, you couldn't say anything to someone. Like
Yeah,
what are
yeah.
they?
Yeah, as a boss, and then when you're the employee, I mean, from like the side of the employee, you just think like, if I tell my boss once, yeah, just come on, call me whenever you want, or if you need something more on the Saturday afternoon, then call me. Then maybe they think they can just do that on the Sunday as well, and maybe the weekend after, and so maybe that's a way of just being like, okay, no, that is my boundary, and that boundary is not,
That's it.
getting
Yeah,
moved
laid
anywhere.
down. The barricade is laid down. I think as well, we must have talked about this before, but the idea of like couper, like to cut completely in summer, is a very French thing.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I first started the job I'm doing, it was like really busy summer and I just started and I like went away but was still kind of working a bit in between, came back and I took like 4 days off, came back, I took some days off. And someone at work was like, mais t'as pas coupé? Like when did you cut off
When you
from
cut.
work? And she was like, oh, I need minimum 3 weeks in the summer
I
to
think
just cut
there
off.
is something, I don't want to say it's a law, but I feel like you as an employee in a company have to take 2 consecutive weeks over summer of holidays. You're like,
Yeah, yeah.
you have to, right?
You have to couper. Yeah, you have to do it. Because I've actually been on the wrong side of HR for that. They've been
See?
like, you've not taken enough time off. I'm like, sorry.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
But I mean, that is quite good, I think.
Mhm.
My partner's really into that. He's like, I have to have 3 weeks off in summer. I just have to. Like, I
I
can't
just
not.
feel
I'm like,
so
fair enough.
good. I do love it.
You're very good at that, actually. You've always had 3 weeks off in summer.
Always, like, seriously. I basically
You
booked my summer holiday coming out of my summer holiday, my
fair
next
enough.
one.
Got to do it.
I
What else have
have
you got on your list?
Well, I
Oh,
haven't
sorry.
really. I have one that I thought I was gonna keep for a different episode, but I just have to talk about it because I mean, I haven't actually done a lot of research on it to see how it is in other countries. Maybe you know something about the UK, but when someone burns themselves in France,
Yeah.
quite a lot of people I know would call on like someone to cut the fire.
Oh, you've told me about this. I've never heard about it before in my life.
So basically, to give some context, so if you, for example, get burnt really badly, or for example, a child burns themselves on, a stove, the theory is basically that the body keeps on kind of like fighting against that and you can't really heal. And so there's some people in French society who say they have the gift of couper le feu, of cutting fire, basically making it stop in your body so that like it stops. And so they believe that that person can either be with you like one on one, and then you have some people who can cut fire from distance. So you just call them and they need to see a picture of the person that they cut the fire for. And this is something that people say is given on from one generation to another. I don't actually know how you discover if you can do it or not. But like this sounds a bit crazy, but believe me, in like intensive care units in French hospitals, they work with these people.
Shut
So
up.
for example, like people who have been like in big fires and, you know, like for example, the club that burnt down in Switzerland, they would have people cut the fire and you know, people have done it. They're like super convinced that you heal much quicker, that, you know, you don't have a scar from something that would maybe leave a huge scar. So yeah, just putting that out there, it definitely is a thing. And I've not like, it's not only in my bubble of friends, like people do it. People believe in it.
Now you say it, it's like triggered a memory when we spoke about it the first time. And I think I spoke about it with colleagues and they were like, yeah, of course. Like,
yeah, it's a thing, right?
Like
everyone knows someone to call.
What the hell, man?
Yeah.
Like, what is that about?
I haven't done enough research about it.
Next show and tell you can tell us about it, definitely. But I do think alternative medicine is, well, certainly more than the UK, is way more common here. Yeah, people regularly, you know, go and see osteopath.
Yeah.
But there's always kind of a bit of a spiritual side a lot of the time, isn't there, with it
often.
and kind of thing. Yeah, I feel like people are a lot more spiritual, maybe.
Probably,
or maybe that's just I spend time with in the UK.
Yeah, I think, but I think it's kind of quite a lot of studies, right? That like it depends so much on like you believing that it actually works. That, you know, whether it does or doesn't, it probably is maybe in some cases just as good as believing in your doctor giving you a treatment.
True. Although I do think sometimes when the doctor prescribes me herbal medicines, I'm like, oh, that's not going to heal me though. What do you call them? The little beads that you get?
Does your doctor give you those?
Not anymore. Maybe I'm just like, mate.
It's like sugar, sugar drops or whatever it is.
Yeah, I suppose it's good to kind of explore that explore things that aren't like really harsh chemicals before you do go to sort of more harsh things. But I do feel like personally, if I'm going to doctors, I'm on like death's door. So I do need just the hard stuff. Do you want to know some more of the insights I had on my list? One of the insights I put, which people probably know, is people smoke everywhere, like in the street.
Yeah.
And now they vape everywhere. Oh my God, it's so annoying.
Inside. Are they allowed?
No.
Sometimes they're not allowed though, but people do.
No, yeah, people definitely vape inside at work. But I feel like in the UK, smoking is kind of seen as like it's like a bad thing to do. Whereas here, I feel people on a terrace, people aren't bothered about who they're smoking over. It's like,
no, it's quite
out
chic,
my smoke,
right?
whatever.
Yeah. Like, yeah, go inside if you don't want smoke.
Yeah, exactly. I did read actually that smoking became kind of cool from intellectuals in France. That's why
I would definitely say that.
Like
so there we go again with what we said about, people being into like intelligence being like very valued.
There you go. Clever to smoke.
So
not
clever.
clever. Don't do it. It's bad for you. Go on. Hit me with something.
I read somewhere and that did make sense that complaining about things, and this is what French people say that a lot about themselves, although I feel like other nationalities do it quite a lot as well, but that like the French complaining is like a cry for connection with other people. It's like a social connection thing, much more than actually trying to complain and make something like a situation change that is for some reason annoying them.
That's really true. Yeah, getting just outraged together, protesting. That's yeah, I totally agree with that. Getting behind the cause.
Yeah.
I love that. I did come back to something that we've touched on other podcasts. It kind of came up when I was asking ChatGPT, I'm not going to lie, about things in France. And it was like eating on the move is seen as very lower class.
Did that come up?
Yeah. So apparently this is a thing. It wasn't just me being insane. It is seen as lower class. And the reason is because from pre-industrial France, when's that, like the 17th century, I guess? Like when there's still the
Yeah.
aristocracy in France, it was lower class to eat on the move because you had to eat on the move because you were going to the factory to work,
Okay, that makes
basically, or
sense.
you were going to serve somebody. Whereas the aristocracy could have had the time to sit down and eat.
It's
That's
just
kind of
like
still the case
it's like
now,
being
right?
like having tan skin or something like that, like,
Exactly.
you're
Yeah, and
tanned, it means you work outside, it means you're, like, lower class, okay.
yeah, whereas in the UK, tan is like, I can afford to go on holiday
Yeah, exactly, now it's
in the
different,
UK.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where it comes from.
Crazy. Do you think
I don't
they
know.
know that they're looking down on you because of that? It's just being, like, very, very arrogant?
No, I don't think so. But I don't think when I'm like, oh, I've got a great tan, I'm not like, this means I've got a lot of money because I can afford to go abroad.
Yeah,
Do you
no.
know? I'm more like, I just like being brown, but I don't know why.
Yeah. I feel like that's over, though, we're not supposed to be tanned anymore. Now
Are
we're
we
just
not?
too aware of the risk for our skin.
That's very true. Yeah. Yeah. Also, the wrinkle situation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. If you're not scared of skin cancer, then at least be as scared of wrinkles.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
wrinkles. The
Ay,
wrinkles are
ay,
getting worse. I have a last one, if you don't have a last big one.
ay.
French people hate big, expensive cars. Like, I hate people in and
Oh,
expensive cars, I think. Like,
really?
my husband has this company car, which is like SUV type, big German car. Um, that obviously probably, if you buy that kind of car, probably costs a lot of money. I mean, I don't really know because it's just a company car. But I feel like when I drive in it, I get a lot of, the look of just like people despising me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I do think there's a thing with French people and cars in that there's not as much status attached to it. Like
There's
people
definitely
don't
not. Yeah,
care
and I
about
like that.
banger. Like it's fine to drive a banger, and
Yeah.
you know,
I think that's
especially
really cool. I find that really cool about French people. And that is one part of it. But then really like the looks that you get, especially as like a young woman, I feel sometimes, in a big old shiny car. It's just like you can really tell that they're annoyed.
really,
Like if you don't stop somewhere where they're supposed to, then you'll get a comment or you definitely they really hate people in big cars.
it's crazy. I
Yeah.
do feel maybe. Do you think it's maybe where you live though, because it's kind of like a bit more like I don't want to say
No, it was the same in
farmery, but like
Milan.
rural. Is it?
No, 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 yeah, it's the same everywhere.
Okay. I feel like around here
Unless
there's a
you
lot
live somewhere where everyone has, like, really big, expensive cars, which is so rare, when you go maybe, when you go to some coastal town where only rich people live or something, then people are more used to seeing big SUVs or even, like, Porsche or, like, that kind of really expensive cars that and, like,
Mm.
I'm just gonna say it, in Germany, like, kinda out of, status cars and status is
Yeah,
really
yeah.
so much the opposite than in France, which I have absolutely no opinion on generally, but yeah, I mean, it's a different landscape. The kind of cars that, like, drive around in Munich and the kind of cars drive around in any French city. Not the
Yeah,
same
yeah, yeah,
size,
for
it's
sure.
definitely not the same thing, and you
Do you not think
definitely,
it's
yeah, get an extra, like, a look full of hate.
don't be jealous of a Beamer or whatever it
It's
is.
just like it's just a car. It's just a car, whatever.
Also, do you not think it's linked maybe to so definitely in Lyon, and I imagine it's the same in Paris and definitely Marseille and other French cities, like people will wreck your car. You know, when I lived in Vieux-Lyon, like the old town, honestly, like we had like a Peugeot 206. I mean, I'm saying it didn't matter, it wasn't my car, so I don't really care.
Well, the
My
orange
boyfriend,
one.
the orange one. But we replaced the wing mirror on that. I can't even explain how many times we replaced the
All the
wing mirror
time,
because
yeah.
it was like parallel parked in quite a busy street and people just went past like bashing it off. Eventually we just
Yeah.
sellotaped it on. We were like, whatever,
Yeah.
You see a
And
lot
that
of
I love that that is just generally accepted, like, that you would just do that.
sellotape the wing mirror back on.
Love
I'm not
it.
paying for it again. And I
Yeah.
do think because there's a French thing of touche touche, to park.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never seen that before. And like, and then when Ben said it once, he was like parking, he like hit the car in front, and I was like, he was like, ah, touche touche, what?
There's love it.
Touche touche. I
I
think a
love
lot of
that.
people do that.
That is something that I just love about France. Just be a bit chill about shit. Just be chill about your car. But don't
Uh,
despise someone else because they don't, because they have one that isn't as wrecked as yours is anyway.
yeah.
I love
I
it too.
mean, when you're finished with it, it'll be wrecked enough.
Yeah.
Take it to Leon, it'll get bashed up in it very quickly.
Yeah. I hopefully someone's learned something, or, French listeners would be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, true, that might be a thing of my culture," and that's fun.
Well,
Anyway,
if you're thinking about moving to France, buy some cartoons, well, get a banger.
get a banger. Don't be scared about burning yourself, because there's people who will help you, uh, with your
Yes.
pain and the
They will.
scarring.
Do write to it if you can think of any more.
Oh, yeah,
Get
we
us on
would love to hear
Instagram.
that.
Definitely tell us, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, I'll let
Well,
you go and finish your wine and prepare for your
thank you.
class.
Yes.
And I am going to go to bed and try and not put off bedtime again, because last night I decided to put up curtains till 1:30 a.m. and then paid the price
Oh,
all day.
God. I mean, I hope you're happy looking at your curtains today, so that could help,
They
but
do look
it's
good.
long.
All of my kids came and immediately hid
Hold
behind
on.
them and kind of pulled on them, and I was like, "Oh, these aren't going to last very long."
No, they might.
We'll see how good the holes I made were.
Well done for doing that on your own.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I'll catch you next Wednesday.
Yeah.
And see you next week.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Bye.